Hello there and welcome to Agritalk right here on KTN Farmers TV. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi. Welcome to another session of great discussions. All right, now we are going to be talking about pedigree management and dangers of inbreeding on farmers and their livelihoods, and also a major focus is on dairy. And joining us is Dr. Paul Juma, who is from the Kenya National Genetic Resources Center. He's also a Principal Extension Services Officer. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kelvin.
All right. Now, from the topic, pedigree management and dangers of inbreeding. First of all, let us look at pedigree management. When you're talking about pedigree, what do you exactly mean? So that at least we can get from the basics, even as we get into the topic.
Thank you, Kelvin. Pedigree simply means record on parentage. Record on parentage. And what that simply means is that a given cow can be identified from the ancestry, from the mother, the father, the grandmother, the grandfather, the paternal grandfather. But the focus is how the genetics of the ancestry has been transferred to the subject and what that genetic pool in the subject is of benefit to us. So it's about a subject and the ancestry.
Okay.
But again, in the layman's language, people will tell you, I need a pedigree cow, all right? I need a pedigree cow. If you link the two with my explanation, then you'll find that pedigree is a record of past ancestry, parentage. But the pedigree cow in the layman's language comes in because in the parentage, in the ancestry, we look into a given breed, a given breed line. For instance, if the subject, the cow we are talking about, is, say, a Frisian. Frisians produce milk.
Yes.
Then it is better if we found that the mother was also a Frisian, the father was also a Frisian, the grands are also Frisian, so that we are following a Frisian pedigree, a Frisian parentage. So that means then the subject, the cow you're talking about, is a Frisian. So if you tell me I need a pedigree cow, then I should give you a Frisian that the pedigree record is Frisian. Basically, that's what it is.
Right, and also still on pedigree, very interesting there, because you know, when you look at animals, especially the cows that we have at home, someone doesn't really follow that sort of record. Maybe to look at it maybe 4 generations ago or 5 generations ago, what was there. All right, so what is the importance of this? Because a person might say, okay, I've gotten the calf, it has grown to a cow, it is doing well. So what is the importance of this pedigree management, and how does it help a farmer on the present day?
I'll take you a little bit to some history
Yes.
of milk production in this country. The exotic breeds that now give us a lot of milk first came to this country in 1930s. They are about 1935, okay, with the colonialists. These animals were not native to Kenya. They were exotic. But a new gene is being introduced into Kenya for the sake of improving what we have so that we can get more milk.
Yes.
That, Kelvin, does not mean we did not have a pedigree. All right? We had our zebu. Okay? We had our small zebu. But when a zebu is mated to a zebu and the line of the pedigree, the lineage of the pedigree is zebu, then it's also a pedigree. That is that. Then we got into milk production, the interest in milk brought in by the colonialists. And then we get the exotic breeds that have been bred elsewhere. Then we brought them in and started crossing, cross-mating. That means you're taking what was out there into what you have and see the product.
Yes.
The product is not a pedigree, okay? The pedigree that we know that we, of course, the product is not a pure breed. Let me use the exact word. The product is not a pure breed. It is a crossbreed. But you'll find that if our focus was to produce milk, and then we crossed a high producer with a low producer, then the offspring is expected. If focus is on milk, it's expected that the offspring will produce something between the two. So for us in Kenya, for us, the local farmer, your offspring has produced much higher than the mother. Okay? And when we follow breed lines, the advantage is you are able to maintain the breeds themselves for conservation, because you're not supposed to lose on breed just because you are doing crossbreeding. And then the trait you are looking at for us today is about milk production. You are able to conserve milk productivity from that breed, that pedigree line. Okay? Then, talking about pedigree management. From that time, 1935, Kenya Animal Genetics Resources Center, that we call it today, it was not existing. But the center started existing in 1946. That is how many years ago? 77 good years ago. And picked it up from the colonial regime, worked with them for purposes of improving milk production in this country. There were organizations like Kenya National Artificial Insemination Services, or scheme, not services, scheme. Those who are older than me will tell you the government used to walk around to look for cattle to inseminate. If your cattle is on heat along that route, you just take her close to the road and they do artificial insemination.
Yes.
The purpose was to increase milk production. Today, Kelvin, you're young. If I talk about Africian, you really know it, because it's somewhere in your vicinity.
Yes.
But it wasn't there before. It has taken generations, 77 years ago, of improving what we had to a level where we have got cattle that we can proudly say are Kenyan. They are now Kenyan, and they are producing. For your information, Kenya is the leading milk producer in East Africa. It is known. But the face of that lead is the Kenya Animal Genetic Resources Center. A state corporation, it is our own. It's a government entity, all right? And I would say that we have had a mileage. I want you to imagine that in 1940s, all right, a zebu will produce 2 liters. Out of those genetic crossing and all that, we have reached to a level where some of the daughters of our bulls that we keep at our station are producing 60 liters. Out of trying to look at the pedigree. Who is the father, who is the mother? That is basically what pedigree is. Okay? So that we crossed ours and reached those levels where we are producing as good as where the original cows came from. And we are proud about it. There is no doubt about that.
All right. So basically, it's a very good thing to do, especially when it comes to. So there has been very good positive progress of pedigree management, right? All right. So let's move on and also look at now the pedigree management. According to you, Daktari, how can a farmer start pedigree management, and what are the requirements, and what cost goes into this? So you can just give us a picture. If a farmer wants to start this, what is the process?
You want to start pedigree management. First of all, we define that what you want to produce is milk. And what you want to produce is milk from a cow. Meanwhile, we also have goats producing milk.
Yes.
So let's talk about the cow.
Yes.
And you are out there and you are a farmer who has never done this before. What I would advise you is get a cow. You heard me right.
Yes.
Get a cow. I've not told you to get a high producing cow. I've not told you to get a low producing cow. I'm telling this farmer to get a cow. I say that because of the potential, the difference in the potential of the possible farmer. Somebody wants to do it, but they can only afford one cow of 40,000. Somebody wants to do it, but they want to do it big time. He can afford one cow of 300,000. All that variety is available for this starter. So it depends on where you are. But as Kagrik, as a person who comes from the background where pedigree management will produce semen and we build you, we'll pick you from where you are. If this farmer brought in a heifer of unknown pedigree, that means unknown parentage, he's still a farmer. We'll pick you from wherever you are, but we encourage you to use this artificial insemination technology and other technologies that we're going maybe to talk about later.
Yes.
So that you improve fast. But all farmers for us are important. You may need to put up structures before you bring in this cow.
Yes.
There is all aspects of welfare, animal welfare. When you bring in a cow, where is she going to sleep? What is she going to eat? When she gets sick, how do you prevent diseases? And how do you treat them? Okay? Then that boils back to how much land do you have for this cow? Okay? Then you must also do cattle keeping as a business. Right? You are putting there some land for this cow. Then you should be able to know that this cow should bring back to you out of the investment you put in. That is the direction that I would advise farmers who are interested in milk production to take. Let it not be keeping animals, keeping cows, because the jirani, the neighbor, is keeping cows.
Yes.
And then you get cows and then you don't succeed because that other person is really focused on this as an investment. You want to do it as a hobby.
Yes.
So you will need structures of sleeping, in summary. You will need to prevent diseases. There are all sorts of ways of preventing. And then should the disease penetrate, then you should be having a standby vet who should be able to guide you on how to treat diseases. You should be also focused on improving what you have today. You must have a chance to improve. Improving on productivity, on milk production is where we come in.
Okay.
We bring you chosen semen from chosen bulls suited for you, suited for your cow. Yes.
Okay, we'll get to the part for choosing semen and everything else. Now, let's also look at the kinds of breeds that we have in Kenya and their levels of production. When you look at the breeds that we have, first of all, you can just mention them and then you give us which one has maybe better production than the other.
Yes. In Kenya, the most common dairy breed
Yes.
is the Frisian. Black and white, slightly bigger than the rest. The Frisian produces more milk in quantity. But there is something we call the milk solids, the butter fat, the protein levels, and the rest. Frisian is a bit lower than the rest. But in volume, she is the best producer. Then we have the Ayrshire. The Ayrshire breed produces slightly lower than the Frisian. Okay? And again, I must say that she is more hardier than the Frisian. And then the milk is thicker, if I could use that term. Has got more milk solids, is thicker than the Frisian. Then we have the Guernsey. The Guernsey slightly, almost at the same production level generally with the Ayrshire, but again, she's a bit bigger and has got thick milk, if I would so to speak. And then we have the Jersey. The Jersey, right now is a wave of Jersey. All people want Jersey. The other day it was Frisian. But Jersey is small-bodied, produces lesser milk than the rest. But this milk is of a great quality. She feeds less than the others, but they convert that less into some good milk.
Wow, okay.
Very good quality milk. If only we sold milk in this country based on quality, Ayrshire would, Jersey would be everywhere.
Okay.
Jersey would be everywhere.
Okay.
So those are some of the milk breeds.
Okay.
I want to put in two of our own that has been with us for a long time.
Okay.
And one of them is still, one that has been with us with a long time, one that we are introducing. We have the Sahiwal, okay? Maybe call it the red Maasai cow. This Sahiwal is a dual purpose, produces some good level of milk, but also puts on some good level of meat. All right? So if you want milk and then still sell for meat at, you want to balance, then you go for Sahiwal. And again, she's also very hardy, resistant to most diseases, and it's what most Maasais out there are using. Right now, we are convincing them into using artificial insemination for purposes of avoiding inbreeding.
Okay.
So currently, the Kenya Animal Genetic Resources Center is introducing a breed to the farming population called Magic 50.
What is it all about? Magic.
The magic about the Magic 50 is that the 50 stands for 50% of genetic composition of that cow.
Okay.
50% is a breed from Brazil and India called the Gir, G-I-R, Gir. From that country, we also have brought in Girolando. They are related. 50% of the genetic material made up of this cow is Gir. Then the other 50%, we have put in our own Sahiwal at a given percentage, I think around 19%. We have put in Jersey, around 25%, and the remaining percentage we have put in other exotic breeds. Like utapata, there is Frisian inside, there is an Ayrshire, but these low levels of genetic composition.
Yes.
What is magic about the 50? is that the gear from the origin is known for resistance to diseases generally and to trypanosomiasis specifically. Trypanosomiasis is a disease that is spread by fly, and it's a threat in this country, especially around large water masses and big forests. Okay? So we are talking about the Amboselis, we are talking about the coastal region, and then we are talking about around Lake Victoria. People have not really embraced keeping the exotic breeds in those areas because they keep them and then they die of trypanosomiasis. It's a bit tricky of a disease. But now the 50% of what we are introducing is resistant to trypanosomiasis. We will no longer need the donor funding to come and clear trypanosomiasis and the rest. We'll just have the right breed. We are breeding them at the coast at a farm called Makitosha. And that is where we are doing the mixing of the breeds. And as we speak, we have several bulls at our station called Magic 50 as a composite breed, composite in that the percentages of the genes that I've talked about. And our intention is actually to take the semen back to the coast so that it can be used there and around Lake Victoria and around places where we have fly.
Okay.
But just something a bit on that people in other areas are buying it more than the people that are intended. Those are the breeds.
All right. Now the Magic 50. I can't wait to see how it looks because I believe it will even be bigger. That's what I'm thinking. Because if you mix all these breeds together, I think it will be bigger, and maybe the milk production will also increase. All right, let's move on. And now look at you've spoken about semen. Even as we now want to go for a break, I think we can just talk about semen and how it's collected and the process, and also can any farmer do it? Because with regards to breeding, how is semen collected, and is there a really structured process of collecting semen, and can any farmer do it? Yes, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Kelvin. Can any farmer do it? Let that come last.
Okay.
Semen collection. In a bull stud, where we have bulls, we don't have females. We only have men. We only have bulls. So, but yet we say we milk bulls. In our station, we milk bulls. We don't milk females. I hope you get to know where I'm getting to.
Yes.
Now the question is how.
Yes.
For us, it's easy. Just we bring in calves at around 1 month into our station. They have not yet reached puberty. After they reach puberty, we start milking them. One advantage is this maturing bullock has never mated a female. So we use 2 methods. The first one is called the use of artificial vagina. Okay? The use of artificial vagina. The second one is the use of an electro-ejaculator. Big terms, but means very little.
Yes.
Artificial vagina, just the way it is. I'm a scientist, so vagina is vagina. I never gave them the names. It's God. So that's the way we call them. But this one is artificial one.
Yes.
I wish I had carried one. Yes. I would have shown the viewers of this. But we have made something artificial where it simulates the vagina itself. The warmth, the lubrication, the tightness is taken care of. The length We'll check the length of the penis, and then the product is collected at the end. You just hold it with your hand. But how do you do it? We have bulls, from which the donor bull, and then we have a teaser bull. A teaser bull, not cow.
Yes.
So the teaser is restrained in a place that he cannot move so much. And the male organism, when the female is tied to a given point, they get stimulated. So this one, actually the teaser is castrated. So he doesn't have that fighting, that testosterone kind of ego. So it's humbled, but has to have the weight to carry the bulls. Our bulls go up to 1 ton in weight. Oh. So you can't use females. Yeah. They'll go down. So the donor bull mounts the teaser. Okay? Because he has never known any other mounting. He knows when we are supposed to collect. He knows. And then he mounts the teaser. When he mounts, there is a risk that he can penetrate the anal opening, the anus. So how do we prevent that? At around the chest region, let me use that term, yes. Thoracic region, just in front of the prepuce, we put an apron hanging, okay? Hanging, to prevent the penis from penetrating the anus. Okay. So when he jumps, we do a false mount. We call it false mounts, and we do 2 of them. He bounds, he tries to look for the penetration, he can't find it because he's blocked. Then we pull him back. He mounts again, we pull him back. But there is something we are looking at. You will see some fluid coming out of the penis. It is not urine. It is the fluid that lubricates the path. And actually, we know now he is stimulated. So when we put him to mount at that time, then we divert the penis into the artificial vagina. The warmth, the lubrication, the tightness, and the length. And he feels he's home. He gives you a thrush. And at the end, you have your semen collected. Kelvin, will a farmer do that at home?
No. All right, there you have it from Dr. Paul Juma himself. He has really explained to us the process of collecting semen and also speaking about the way a farmer can make sure that at least you are able to make sure that at least you know the breeds that we have and the importance that they have within Kenya and also within milk production. All right, we're going to go for a short break. Don't go too far. We're going to come back with Dr. Paul Juma to just learn more about the topic of today. Don't go too far.